sad. That's what social media thinks because I'm homeschooled. Apparently, that means I'm weird, sheltered, parent taught, socially awkward, probably sitting alone in a dim room with no friends and no future. And I've noticed that when the internet believes something loudly enough, other people start believing it too. And maybe I am weird, but here's the truth. These stereotypes didn't just live online, they lived in me. For a while, I believed these misconceptions. And they don't just affect random strangers scrolling on their phones. They push families, maybe even yours, away from considering homeschooling. Not because it wasn't a good education, not because it wasn't going to work, but because of a story, repeated so often that it began to sound like a fact. But homeschoolers I know, they're not lonely, they're not sad, they're not boring, they're not uneducated, they're not unhealthy, they're students, athletes, artists, coders, leaders, volunteers. They're busy, they're curious, they're alive. And maybe the most dangerous myth about homeschooling isn't that it's weird. It's that we never question the stereotype long enough to see the person standing right in front of us. Because once you do, the label disappears. And all that's left is a normal person, just like you. I keep seeing people say that homeschooling is for children who are too slow for school. The National Home Education Institute says that while many in-person students are falling behind, homeschoolers often move ahead. That's not what we see on social media. And for a long time, I didn't bother to think about homeschooling at all. So your parents teach you? Like, do you have any friends? The reality surprised me. I have a bigger opportunity to explore the world through flexibility and going at my own pace, being taught the classic subjects, and learning to see the world through my own scope and opinions. More specifically, classic classes that teach science, math, and English can fit into whatever classes the student is interested in. For me, I have the ability to go to microbiology labs and do creative writing. Here's something else that I completely misunderstood about homeschooling at first. We assume that if a child goes and struggles in a traditional in-person school, that struggle might follow them everywhere. But sometimes it's not the student. Sometimes it's the setting. And this is where I was wrong. I, like many others, used to think that homeschooling meant sitting at the kitchen table while our parents handed you worksheets and told you to focus. But homeschooling today often looks very different. It looks like logging in to structured classes. It looks like live discussions, teachers with degrees, classmates from around the world. It's not 2020 Zoom rooms and no one's telling you to go touch grass. In fact, truly parent-taught homeschoolers are rare. Many homeschoolers take online classes. They work with certified teachers. They follow structured curriculum. They collaborate, they present, they debate. It's not isolation, it's flexibility. And for some students, that flexibility doesn't weaken their education, it unlocks it. Almost all online schools have scholarships and financial aid. Each of these classes requires little to no help from parents. And then there's the assumption. If you homeschool, one parent has to quit their job. That's the narrative. That homeschooling only works if one parent stays home full-time, hovering over every assignment, supervising every minute. And yeah, some families choose that. But choice is the key word, because that's not the only model. Homeschooling can look like co-ops, communities of families sharing teaching responsibilities. It can look like microschooling, small, collaborative learning environments. It can look like logging in to structure classes. It can look like live discussions, advanced classwork, working anywhere with a stable internet. And here's something that people don't talk about enough. Homeschooling isn't only for wealthy families. Families I know range from low income to middle income to high income. They adjust, they prioritize, they share resources. Co-ops in particular allow parents to continue working while students learn in community. It's not one parent sacrificing their career. It's families designing an education that works for them and their children. And when we reduce it to one rigid image, we miss the creativity, possibility, and flexibility that families are quietly building every day. Disclaimer: I am not arguing that public schooling is bad. I'm also not saying that homeschooling is perfect. Homeschooling is better for some people, and when it is so negatively discussed, people who might love to be homeschooled avoid it. The stereotype walks into the room before the homeschool student does. Homeschoolers are sad, homeschoolers are lonely, maybe on Thursdays. But if you're a full-time student, at most online schools, there are weekly homerooms, clubs, student societies, academic competitions. Most are online. But instead of sitting around in an awkward circle and staring at each other, we sit around in awkward rectangles and stare at the computer. Instead of asking someone to prom with a giant sign, we create a carefully worded presentation. Instead of sending secret chocolates or flowers for Valentine's Day, we send anonymous e-bouquets. It's not the absence of social interaction, it's a different format. People call, they text, they FaceTime, and if they live near each other, they meet up. In fact, I met my best friend in an online class when I realized that our siblings both went to the same online school and that we both live in Los Angeles. What were the odds? Most of my homeschooled peers don't just have one activity, they have three. Sports, art, theater. Many of them interact daily with public school students. And sometimes the real social fear sounds less like homeschoolers are weird and more like, wait, Miss Teacher, you want me to talk to one of them? Maybe the discomfort isn't about homeschoolers. Maybe it's about unfamiliarity. Because once you actually meet us, we're not weird, we're not mysterious, we're not isolated. We're just navigating our education slightly differently. And honestly, sometimes it's much better. Misconceptions are spread through the social media that we read and see, the conversations of schooling between dedicated parents, and rumors about homeschool children. This may seem like just a speech to you, but homeschooling changed my life. It's one of the best changes of my life. And it could be the best change for so many other people, but only if we stop the biases. Through social media and discussions, we need to spread awareness about what homeschooling really is. Instead of saying that we are weird, sad, or lonely, you can stay open to the fact that we are normal people, just with a different and better fit education for us. It may seem hard, but I was just as skeptical and prejudiced before I took my time to research and became homeschooled myself over a year and a half ago. It's true. We haven't developed a deep enough understanding of homeschooling, and we need to, if students are going to get the education that fits them best. I'm not asking you to pull your children out of school tomorrow. I'm asking you for something small. Today, this week, find one post on social media, one conversation, one opinion for homeschooling or against it. Read it, notice your reaction, notice what assumptions show up before the facts do. Comment if you want, ask a question. You can even come up to me after I do the speech and question me. Because curiosity is where myths begin to fall. If this topic sparks even a flicker of interest, look a little deeper. Explore some online classes. You don't have to enroll, you don't have to agree, just look. Because here's what I'm really asking. The next time someone tells you, I was homeschooled, pause. Pause before the assumptions show up. Pause before the image forms in your head. Maybe they were online schooled, maybe they were parent taught, maybe our education looks nothing like what you can imagine. But I can almost guarantee you this. They are not a myth. They are normal. Thank you.